Yo, you are now tuned in to the Off the Porch podcast with the podcast point guard, Derek Lamont. Coming off them screens, hitting them threes, giving you that information that you surely need. Coming through that back door, hitting you with that pass, leading you to that information as only I can. People, what a beautiful day we got going on today. We got training camp starting up all around the league, but most importantly, for these Carolina Panthers. Beautiful thing, I tell you what. And leading into this, I thought that I would come in and talk about the divide that I see in Panther Nation and somewhat silly, but it is understandable at this day and time, coming off of a 2-15 season, coming off close to a decade of just losing and incompetency. And people start to get short fused, they get short tempered, and they start to have just different ideas of what the Carolina Panthers should look like. And when it comes to that, we have all different types of Panther fans. You got the Panther fans that are younger that haven't been there, maybe came right after the Cam era. You got the Panther fans that started watching during the Cam era. Then you got Panther fans a little before the Cam era. And then you got the people who've been there since day one, like myself and different others. Also, if you're listening to this, check out the Carolina Cat Chronicles. They're on the internet, great site, but they also are the C3 Panther podcast, led by the great Tony Dunn, the homie Cody Lack. We also got C3 Legion. That's within the spaces on Twitter, X, however you like to call it, where we be having a great dialogue about Panther football. It's a great place to go just chat if you just want to talk Panthers. Sometimes we get off the rails and start talking about other things, but it's a community that has turned into a family. I value it. I love it. You get a chance, check it out. Shout out to my sister Jamita Laree, my biggest supporter. A1 Roberta Son, one of the dopest rappers that's out there. The whole Off the Porch family, the whole C3 family. Let's get into it, people. Last night I was at work listening to different pods, helps me get through my shift. And basically, what it came down to was a Panther content creator decided to, with some strife, disagreement, slight controversy, if you might want to say, about the Carolina Panthers, about Bryce Young. The other party felt very disrespected by some clips that went out. Now, mind you, I will not be speaking on the name of those content creators because the only thing I'm trying to do is deliver a certain message. It's not to browbeat anyone. It's not to make anyone feel any type of way. And to be quite honest, at least with one of them parties, regardless what I would have to say about it, they wouldn't care. So let's get into it. One of the biggest things that has been an issue, not since this offseason, but the offseason previous, was the drafting of Bryce Young. Okay. A lot of mixed reviews. That's to say it lightly. And within the mixed reviews, you had the people who believed in Bryce, which that coined the term the Bryce sexuals. Then you got the anti Bryces because they wanted CJ Stroud. Okay. Now, leading into that, I did want CJ Stroud. But see, I'm a guy about family. And see, when it comes to family with me, once you're on this team, you're my family. And one thing about family, you can disappoint me. You might you might make me mad. I might not like you certain days, but I'm gonna love you because you're my family. I'm gonna believe in you because you're my family. I'm gonna take faith that you're making the right decisions that you need to be the best person that you can be in this family. I'm gonna take faith in that. So coming into this season, and Bryce came in, and we already were seeing that there was already a problem going into the preseason where we were talking about vanilla offense right off the gate. Didn't seem like there was no much a sense of urgency of anything. And well, The product reflected, lost the coach, uh, wasn't the right fit for the situation going on. A lot of front office turmoil. Everybody, if you listening and you're a Panther fan, you probably know that part of it. We're not going to get in deep with the backstabbing and the incompetency of the GM and so forth. We know that all that played a major factor in hampering and stunting the growth of Bryce Young. That's not a joke, no pun intended in that. Uh, Basically, we get into the season. Very, very anemic performance for a lot of those mitigating factors of offensive line and so forth. It weaponized anti-Bryces and it made, for lack of better terms, Bryce sexuals very defensive. Till it came to the point anybody who might not even have a horse in the race just make a simple post, and the next thing you know, now it's this big horrible spin up again. All right. We're going into training camp with a new lease. We brought in a football guy named Dan Morgan. In my eyes, Panther legend. I believe he knows football. He has been around some smart front office people. Being up in Buffalo, the whole situation they had in Seattle. He has seen how to do it the right way. But most importantly, he was sitting behind the scenes when Fitterer had his hand on the wheel. And so he has seen how not to do it. And I love it because one, he has a personal investment in this team. This team is in his heart. If you watch the blueprint, you hear him saying that every morning he wakes up thinking about 2 and 15 and how unacceptable and how we deserve better. I love that. Then we got Brant Tillers, the money man, making great contracts, awesome contracts. If you have issues with the Panthers, there's something you don't like about the Panthers, or you're skeptical about the Panthers, the one thing you cannot be is about Brant Tillers. One, he brokered that massive major deal for Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City at the time. They've still won Super Bowls since it. The cap hasn't been strained too much off of it. That is competency from your money, man. And every deal that we have made so far this off season, they have been excellent deals. You can talk about overspending on the two guards of the O line, but it was a most definite need. And I don't consider it an overpay, especially if we can get a better performance from Bryce Young just because he has somewhat more time to get the passes off. Okay. With that also being said, we added additions of Deontay Johnson, who I think is just one of the silkiest, smoothest route runners in football. I think he's going to be open for Bryce to hit on numerous occasions. I think that Xavier Leggett's going to find his wheels, but I'm kind of getting off. Because, see, on that pod last night, part of it was a clip that was brought out basically saying that it would insinuate on the other side that this member didn't have a clue or what he was talking about Panther football. Once it was addressed and they both was on there, the other one said that that was not the intent. It was not the intent. The man's making content. I'm not here for who was right, who was wrong. I'm not there for any of that. But what disheartens me is I run through the X streets, the YouTube streets, the Facebook group streets. At such a divide. Cats just ready to risk it all verbally and mentally and their mental health about these, ab- about just opinions. You know, we don't know exactly what's going to happen this season. We know that. We are aware of that. Nobody. All right. All right. Let's just break it. We understand that last year was trash. Best way to put it. Okay. Quarterback play, O line play, receiver play, D line play, linebacker play. All phases of the football, maybe minus Johnny Hecker, underproduced. Even at where they were listed on paper, they underproduced. All right. But what I want you to take faith in, because see, this ain't no moan session. This is not a browbeating session. See, I've already told you where the front office is doing their thing. But now let's talk about the coach. Let's talk about the coach. Dave Canellis, motivator type guy. Some people like to call him a quarterback whisperer for the things that he's done with Russell Wilson. Some people like to call him a quarterback whisperer for what he's done with Geno Smith. I don't usually like to get caught up in them tags of like the quarterback fixer, the quarterback whisperer, and all that. That's usually not on my agenda. Usually, you're just a good coach. You now you have a specialty. That's fine. But a lot of times, when you hear these guys, quarterback gurus, the small percentage of them actually stay successful and continue to have that label and moniker of being like a quarterback guru. But see, what I wanted was him to come in and work on technique with Bryce, help Bryce with confidence, help Bryce understand what's in front of him, help Bryce be a better football player. A lot of people gave up on Geno Smith, and Geno Smith has went to Pro Bowls now. Geno Smith has went to the playoffs. I understand that we're not Seattle. I understand that we're the Carolina Panthers and we're 2-15. But you also got to remember, Bryce Young wasn't just a top flight high school quarterback that Nick Saban just picked up for the sake of picking up. Nick Saban saw something special in that man. How many of y'all gonna argue against Nick Saban? Nick Saban, one of the greatest coaches to ever do it, probably the greatest coach of college football. He believed in Bryce. He still endorses Bryce. You might as well just wrap around, even if you don't like the kid, you don't like the decision about the kid, you might as well wrap around because he's our quarterback as of right now. All right. We got a lot of issues to worry about. But the thing that I look at, Miles Sanders has a point to prove. Chuba Hubbard trying to get paid this year. Deontay Johnson trying to get paid and prove a point that he's a one receiver, people. Xavier Legette is trying to prove a point that he's a dog, bro. Jatavion Sanders wanting to show that he can be big money early. But Tommy Trumbull wanting to show that he can be a leader and be a number one tight end. You got 650 pounds in that interior line. Icky got to prove a point at left tackle. Moton making 30-some million. He's got to produce something. Then you add guys like Josie Jewell, smart linebackers who know the Vero system. Shaq Thompson, who's going to be healthy. We're talking about Ashawn Robinson to help stop that problem of doggone stopping the run. We added young guys in the secondary that if anybody has a question and you really want me to be fairly understanding of that question, I can understand where you might have questions in the secondary. But if that front seven is rocking, when you're talking about Jadeveon Clowney added in the big old bout that business, Derek Brown also beside Ashawn Robinson, there's things to look forward to. Even if you're not looking forward to a great win-loss record or you're not expecting a great win-loss record, you will be expecting some plays. Something that has been lacking, more than lacking for quite a few seasons, that big playability, being in games and having a logical chance of winning. And I believe that those foundational bricks of what they're doing right now, bringing in guys who got a point to prove, bringing in dogs that want to show that they're real dogs, bringing in people whose back is against the wall, cats that are hungry, cats that are willing to fight side by side for a common goal. And when that starts to happen, the sky is the limit. But as a fan base, this is a time now. We've had this long 2-15 off season. You've had time to think. You've had time to read articles. You've had time to watch videos. You've had time to go back and watch games again. You've had time to go back to the All 22. You've had time to listen to me. You had time to listen to Diesel Skills. You've had time to listen to C3, P&B, PPP, and every single one of these Panther content creators that's giving you this heat. And I know you're tired. I know you're worn out. Because guess what? We're all a little tired. We're all a little worn out. And we need that refreshing spring water. And you know what's a good step to that refreshing spring water that can restore you and bring you back? Competency. foundation laying, uh, being in the right position, having the right mindset. And Jadeveon Clowney in his presser today was talking about just getting these guys on the mindset. It's football. Have fun in practice. Go out there, throw that body around, and communicate. See, that's the thing. You got to learn how to win in every level, from Pop Warner to middle school to high school to college. Them 7-on-7s before you get to college. All those things are building blocks to winning. And these guys, you can't convince me if they made it through the high school ranks, they've made it through the college ranks, and they get in this league. There's talent. Sometimes it takes a different scheme. Sometimes it takes a different motivator. And when we're talking Dave Canellis, he is a motivator. He is a guy that has a vision. He understands what he wants to do with these Carolina Panthers. And now all it is time for them to do is buy in. The only thing I ask from you, Panther Nation, it's not a time to be sitting fighting about what happened in the past or what you thought should have been, because none of us know what this season will hold. We could be pleasantly shocked. We could be just happy at best at the end. But I'll tell you this, we're not going to be worse. And I know that just sounds bad as, well, that's the less of all evils. But dadgummit, right now, how many times I got to say it? We were 2-15. Rally together. I go on Twitter, the X, or whatever you want to call it, and all I hear is, oh, there's that. Oh, this bum dude this. Oh, this bum dude that. And you have your right to your frustrations, but you do understand until further notice that is a member of your team. And there might come a chance that he might have to bail you out. And you can have all the feelings. You can speak on the feelings, but you can't attack somebody else just because they don't agree. And then all this wordplay, all this semantics. First of all, wordplay is no place in football. Semantics is no place in football. You know what takes place in football? Contact, pads clacking, efficiency. That's what is important. If you want to talk about the skill set, fine. If you want to talk about production, fine. If you want to talk about injury history and how you feel like you're scared in certain areas, fine. But just to sit there and verbally and keyboard attack somebody because they don't agree with you, sir, you are wrong. My final synopsis when it came to what I saw last night, it was just all like a matter of nomenclature. There was a matter of just simple, and when I say simple, just wordplay. Oh, I'm gonna be right because I'm gonna say this here and I'm gonna interject this here. And a culture where, oh, I can pull the receipts. I can pull the receipts. I can pull the receipts. Pull the receipts because in this world, one thing is true. You have the right for your feelings to change about any topic at any time, and nobody can police or gatekeep your feelings when it comes to those scenarios. I'm just being real with you. What else you want me to do? And you sitting here arguing. We probably got players dipping into all this junk and just sitting there just shaking their head. Like, why would a player want to come here when as soon as they get here, they're just attacked? Deontay Johnson was already being attacked about his past in Pittsburgh as soon as he got here. Hadn't even shown you nothing that shown you anything that made you feel like this man couldn't come in here and just be part of the team. If he was that bad in Pittsburgh, was he missing games? Was he that much of a distraction that they started suspending him, keeping him out? No, they didn't. That just want the right fit, that want the right situation. You got to remember things happen in seasons. People come in and out of your life in seasons. And for Deontay Johnson, it just happened to be his season to go. And it was his season to come here. Just like it was Brian Burns' season to move on to another situation. Who knows if it's greener for him? Right now, to be greener for him because he's got the bag, he's ready to go, and everybody has a record of 0-0. But like I said, there's people. that's totally distraught because Adam Thielen been running his mouth all year. Now, when it comes to Adam Thielen, very vocal guy, has opinions, been in this league. If he wants to speak them, he has them. My thing is, and I don't know if he do, and I don't know if he don't. My final thing when it comes to Adam Thielen, if he does not want to be here, let him go. Hit him with that Fantasia. If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Go ahead and free yourself. All right. That's just how I feel about it. I'm not going no further with Adam Thielen. But like I always do, I'm always trying to encourage. I'm always trying to give you something to run with. That young Jonathan Brooks is going to be a dog. Legette's going to be a dog. Sanders is going to be a dog. Shaw Smith Wade's a dog in training. Chuba Hubbard's a dog. Bryce, a dog. Hunt, dog. Lewis, dog. Horn, dog. Jewel, dog. Thompson, dog. Panthers, dog. That's what we're talking about right now. Let's look forward to the future. This is just phase one. Let's get excited about phase one. Because in each phase of this step of getting to a chip, to that each step that takes to try to create a dynasty, you got to lay the bricks. You cannot have a great mansion or any kind of structure without a foundation. A couple of months ago, they were showing Drake's Canadian mansion with all the amenities, talking about how great and big it is. Well, guess what? It wouldn't be a thing without a foundation. I tell you what, I don't want no three-story house sitting in the sand. I tell you that much. So, like I'm telling y'all, I love every single one of you. We're gonna be all right. We have been through the hard times before, and we've came back and we've made it to a Super Bowl. I just wanted to give you that it's time for us to unite. It's time for us to find something to believe in. It might be something different for everybody, but it's time. And I would be remiss if before I got off of here to not shout out my C3 family, not to shout out Tony Dunn, Cody Lack, Diesel Skills, C3 Kobe, Mr. Straps, the whole C3, everybody. There's so many of you, and I love you so much. And I thank you. I thank you for all that y'all have done for me as welcoming me into your family. To my sister Jamila, I love you. To the Murchison 3, I love you. A1 Roberta son, I love you. To everybody in Panther Nation, to the Off the Porch family, like I always say, pound.